Hey everybody in BUSN 1360 Software Apps for Business. I hope you are warm and safe as we are going through some cold weather. There's ice outside and snow is on the way as I'm preparing this video for you. But I wanted to just give you an introduction, not the full video, but an introduction to an assignment that's a little different as we get ready to complete our study of Word. So we've completed 4 modules, or you will by the time I distribute this video. Module 1, or not module, chapters. Word chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. And at the end of the 4 chapters that we cover, we're going to do a module exercise. And so this is called the Critical Thinking Capstone. And it's just a little bit different. So I wanted to go over it with you and actually kind of show you something that's a common place that you can trip up if you're not careful. So there's going to be 3 module assignments. If you look in your syllabus, you'll notice that one of those 3 is a drop grade. So do well early to take the pressure off later on. But what I want to tell you today is that there's 2 parts. There's a quiz, and of course you're very familiar with quizzes by now, and there's a critical thinking grader that is badge enabled. What does that mean? So let's talk about all that. Well, the first thing as you go into this grader that's a little bit different is that your previous graders have covered only 1 chapter. So you've studied a very specific chapter that has a theme to it, and then you've done the grader, and it's all about that chapter. Well, now you're going to take everything that you know from chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're going to use that knowledge to complete a grader assignment that might use concepts from any of those chapters. But that's no problem. You still have your book, you still have the internet, all the resources that you've had available to you, you still have those. And so don't hesitate to use those. Very oftentimes you can just go to the first page of the chapter, scan it, and say, does this have, is this chapter about using tables in Word? If not, then it's not the chapter I'm looking for, something like that. So you've got those resources there. Probably the big caution that I would give you is don't expect this to be fast. This is over 4 modules, and it's just going to take you a minute. It's not going to take you days and weeks and months and years, okay? It's not going to be a 5-second thing. So these graders, they take a little time to reflect. So don't expect to rush through it 2 months. Now, it is a single assignment that, as we said, has these 2 different parts to it. It has a quiz and a grader. And you see here, quiz and grader. Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. The quiz is going to be 10 points of this assignment, and the grader is going to be 40 points of the assignment. So as you can see, this is a 50-point assignment. And it's graded like your other kind of grader assignments on a pass-fail basis, where you need to earn a 70% or above. So what is 70%? Well, 50-point assignment, half of 70 is 35. So if you've got to get 35 points altogether here, divided by 50, that would give you your 70%. Okay, so that's what you're striving for, and I know that you can do it. Okay, so we're going to do those 2. And in fact, well, I need to show you a little bit more, but let me jump over here to pause. And remember, I've emphasized that if you go to assessment and then grades, that it will display, instead of that little bell, it'll display all your grades. Look at all those points that you've started to earn by now. And we talked about until the end of the semester, ignore this dropped grade. Right now, what is your lowest grade? Well, you have a lot of zeros because you just simply haven't had the opportunity to earn those points yet. So scrolling down, I passed these were quizzes. Now I'm passing the simulations. Here's those graders where you get the detailed, kind of feedback. Scroll, 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 keep going down until you see my IT Lab Capstone Quiz and Critical Thinking Grader Badge Enabled. And you'll see Module 1 listed twice, once for the grader, and that's the 40 points, and once for the quiz, and that's the 10 points. Now, I I did this because of some confusion that students experienced last semester, because they would say, well, I think I got 70%, but they weren't looking at the two different pieces and thinking about the way that the points came together. So I thought to try to make that more clear, that I would list next to the grader, here's how many points you got for the grader. So maybe you got 35 points out of 40 in the grader. Maybe you got 40 out of 40 for the grader, and that would be fantastic. And maybe you didn't do the quiz at all, and you should. But for some reason, that was last semester something that people skipped, and I think I know why, and I'm going to tell you that also. But that way you can see the breakout, and so I'll tell you those points. But again, it's a pass-fail assignment. So think of this as just one assignment where you're going to get the full points, if you get that 70% or above. Okay, so I hope that helps. Let me go back to my slides for just a second, because we're talking about the point breakdown and the 70% or above. A couple other things that I wanted to emphasize or explain is this badge thing. What is this badge thing? Well, Pearson can decide if you earn a 90% or above, especially on the grader. Now, I think they look just at the grader. I don't think they look at the quiz. If you earn a 90% or above, then Pearson will email you a digital badge that you can display on social media to tell the world that you didn't just put on your resume that you know Microsoft Word, you really know it, because you have this digital badge from Pearson that says that you do. And of course, you have your Southwest transcript that says that you do as well. But go ahead and display that badge if you get the 90% or above. So be aware that that's something to strive for, that I hope that you do strive for, because that's kind of cool to show employers that you know your stuff when it comes to Word. Okay? Now, number of attempts. This is not just for the badge. This is for the assignment. Unlimited attempts on that grader. So take advantage of that. If you make a mistake on the grader, see what it tells you is wrong, and go back in. If it says, look, something on step 3 is not right, fix that step. You don't have to start over. Just fix that little one thing, resubmit it, and your points are going to go up. And I only count the highest score. So don't worry that if somehow you mess something up and the score goes down, I don't want you to stop learning. I don't want you to stop, growing in your knowledge of Word. You might want to then email and ask me a question, what's happening here, but try it again. Why not? Fix it, see how you do. Now, how do you fix your errors? Because I do hope and I do expect that you're going to submit the work, review the errors, correct the errors, and then submit the work again. If you're not familiar with that process, don't forget those videos. The link is in the syllabus. The links are in pause. They're actually, you can Google YouTube and do Pearson Grader. So find that video. They're short. They're from Pearson, and it'll remind you how to get that feedback. Just as a reminder, and we've had so many exceptions this semester, we're actually at the 1/3 point, 33% of the semester being completed. 15-week semester, so 5 weeks is the 1/3 mark. We've had ice storm. We've had snow. The ice storm power outages. The snow will cause power outages. We have COVID. We still have COVID, and late starts to the semester and purges and blah, blah. So I get it. Okay, but we're back on track now, and we're focused in, and I want you to submit and really plan to submit your work, not just by the due date, because if you hit a bump in the road and you started an hour or 2 hours before the assignment was due, that's when catastrophe strikes. And we don't want that. Make that plan to finish well before the due date, a day or two before. Make that commitment to get done early. Don't fall into late, and that's true professionally, so that will help you professionally as well to make yourself always look good and prepared by having things ready in advance, not just right up to the last minute. All right, so take that extra care to do that. This is directly from the syllabus, so you can read this in your syllabus, drop grades, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to stop there because I want to show you something else that's important. I don't know what I've changed, and that is in My IT Lab. When you're in My IT Lab and you go to course materials and you scroll through your materials, Word 1, Word 2, 3, 4, here's the module, Critical Thinking Capstone. I clicked it and you see only one assignment, not two. Well, click that one assignment. And this is important because this trips people up. So really tune in here. Notice that, I'm going to make that bigger, there's two assignments. Now one is grayed out, and that's what gets you because you think, oh, I don't have to do that. It's grayed out, it's not available. But here's the trick. After you complete the first part of the assignment, the grader, then the quiz is going to open up to you. Okay? So actually the quiz is going to ask you some questions about what you did in the grader. So they're connected. They're not kind of textbooky, right? They're connected. And you'll see it when you get into it. But this is what confuses students because you get so used to saying, oh, that one's grayed out, I don't have to do it, that you don't notice that after you submit that grader and you get your score, your passing score on that grader, that quiz is then going to open up to you, and then you're going to get in there and earn those points. You'll find that your grader instructions are a big help, and your work you'll remember because you did it as part of the grader. So 2 parts, don't forget that. But other than that, the grader is going to work like the grader does. And you go in, you download your materials, you complete the work, you choose the file. Now, there is one thing that I will point out. These are the grader instructions. And what I want to point out is that they're a little bit longer than perhaps the other instructions. I think we've had, 14 steps and, 10 steps perhaps on the first chapter and maybe a few more here and there. I'm scrolling through, and this grader assignment, it says it's 26 steps, but the first step is just download the file, and the second step is submit, the last step is submit it. So you're really looking at about 24 steps. So just be aware of that. Remember I said it's not going to be a, mad dash quick assignment, but it's completely doable. It's completely doable. So you're just going to go through and just like you have been doing. And if you look at one of these steps and you can't remember, this step is about tabs. You can't remember how to do the tab, go back to your book. Maybe go back to, the simulation and look at something that you previously learned. Google, how do I set the tabs again? Don't quit on yourself. Keep moving forward, but don't be scared. Allow yourself time. That's really the key. Allow yourself the time to do it. So that's what I wanted to show you. The grader is perhaps just a little bit longer, and after I've downloaded those files, as you can see, not until I submit my assignment and then come back. In fact, you know what? Let me do this just kind of to demonstrate. Now, I have selected my work file, which has my pretend last name, Betty Baker, so that's my proper file, but I haven't even started it. I have not opened it. I haven't looked at it yet. I'm going to upload it. Wait for the success, and then I'm going to go ahead and submit it. Now, we know I haven't done any work. So I'm back at the grader, and it's graded. Here's my one attempt. And remember, I didn't do anything. So you get 3% for not doing anything. Okay? Here's the thing. I haven't passed. And do you see where the quiz is? Until I get that 70, this is a little trick here, until I get that 70% on the grader itself, I'm not going to be able to advance to the quiz, right? So that's another reason that you got to get that kind of passing grade of the 70% so that you can also complete that quiz. I think everyone can get 100%. I am convinced of it. So I wanted to give you that heads up that there are 2 pieces to this assignment so that you're on the lookout. I know some of you are already ready to work on that, and I hope that that this helps you. So stay warm, stay safe, and I'll be emailing this out to you perhaps in a few days as I give you some time to get to the end of your Word chapters and enter into this module. Thank you, folks. Appreciate you.